Karkkila is a small town just 60 kilometers northwest of Finland's capital Helsinki. The city is famous for its metal industry. F-Cup winter season's last race was held in Karkkila. Let's see how they did this time. Welcome to watch winter's final round of F-Cup on Karkkila roads. Last time in 2003, hometown boys were the top ranks. This year many thought that it would be the same. Jaska Nuorala tried to prove everyone wrong as he tried to do a hat-trick in Karkkila. Nevertheless, Tero Salminen, Timo Jaakonsaari and Joonas Kolehmainen were the top ranks to win this year's rally. Drivers had to do 6 stages. Hometown boy and 6-time Finnish rally champion Juha Salo challenged the top F-Cup drivers with his Starlet. It had been 15 years since he had done his last stage with Starlet. After that, we all have known Salo as a Group N Mitsubishi driver. This time, Member of Parliament Timo Heinonen was his co-driver. Altogether, it was a tight race to be. Jaska Nuorala did not expect that he could keep up with the local drivers. Win was not in his sight.
Mutta koitetaan saada hyvä tulos silti aikaiseksi.
Jaska Nuorala was third fastest on the first stage. He set the pace on the second one and took the lead. Toni Kuhanen said that he would be happy if he finished in top 6. After 2 stages, he was 7th overall, 16 seconds behind the leader Nuorala. Jere Rekola said that this time the car was in better shape. He also thought that it would be hard to beat Jaakonsaari and Salminen. Rekola complained that it had been slippery, nevertheless he lied in 3rd place after 2 stages, only 4.5 seconds behind the leader. Matti Nikander had been 2 seconds slower than Rekola through the first 2 stages and lied 4th overall. Sami Sandell spun on the first stage and lost over 20 seconds. Therefore, he was only in 10th spot. Timo Jaakonsaari lost only 3/10 on the first stage to the leader. Second one didn't favor him that well, and he lied 2nd overall. Gap to the leader Nuorala was only 2.4 seconds. Juha, it was a fine sprint to the finish in Jyväskylä.
Yeah, it was quite nice. I saw how found the rhythm in the end, and it went well in the end.
What about the car? You said that it was not just perfect in Jyväskylä.
Yeah, there was some sort of electronic problem in the engine. It didn't run in the high RPM that well that it should do, but now it should be fixed.
Well, what do you think about your chances in Karkkila?
Well, it's gonna be hard. It's so many drivers here that live around this area, and so it's a local race for many drivers. It's gonna be really hard.
Juha Annala was 9th fastest after 2 stages, although he had lost some time on the first one with his spin. One of the favorites, Tero Salminen, was in 5th place 7 seconds behind the leader. He had some trouble with his engine and was not satisfied with his run so far.
Ei moottori toimi vaihteeksi.
Se on tosi yllättävää. Saako sen korjattua paremmaksi?
Ei vittu, aina huonommaksi menee.
Another Volvo man, Olli Lavikainen, was nearly a half a minute behind Jaska Nuorala. This spin was the reason, as Lavikainen explained in the end of the stage. Otherwise, he had been very satisfied with his run.
Vähän järkky yrkällä, että vähän oli koko ajan räpsyllä, mutta se yksi nyt oli vähän iso pummi, kun se tosissaan ihan pyörähti ja jäätiin vähän penkkaakin.
Jari Huuhka had been only 1 second faster than Lavikainen with his BMW and lied in 12th spot. Samuli Neva was forced to retire in Karkkila as well. As in Jyväskylä, he rode his car in Karkkila too. Joonas Kolehmainen was one of the favorites. Last time he lacked some power with his Corolla, and this time he tried to do better with his Starlet. Last 2 stages he knew really well and hoped that he could benefit out of them. 11th place after 2 stages wasn't at all what he had hoped for. Gap to the leader was already 26 seconds. Jari Toivonen with his BMW had no troubles this time. He had just been too cautious and was 5 seconds behind Kolehmainen. Petri Kumpulainen was in a good form and he had been 8th fastest so far, only 17 seconds behind the leader. Everyone wanted to see how 6 times Finnish rally champion Juha Salo could do with his Starlet. Juha Salo and his co-driver Timo Heinonen said that it would be an exciting race. There would be many familiar faces on the stages, and speed-wise it was too soon to say anything. They just had to wait and see. Let's see how they did on the first stage. Everybody thought that Salo would do well, but it was a surprise as they managed to set the fastest time on the first one. Second one didn't go as well, and after 2 stages Salo was in 6th place, only 7 seconds behind leader Nuora. Next it was time to do stages 3, 4 and 5. Matti Nikander set the pace on the 3rd one with his Corolla. Jere Rekola was the fastest on the 4th stage, as Timo Jaakonsaari set the pace on the 5th stage. He also managed to grab the lead from Nuora. After 5 stages, Krista Sjölund had managed to pick up 7 places and lied now in 12th place. Jari Toivonen had also improved his drive, and he was now in 11th place. Difference to the leader was minute and 5 seconds. Petri Kumpulainen had lost few places, but he managed to hang on in 10th place. Sami Sandel was not in the same four as in Jyväskylä. He had been only 1 second faster than Kumpulainen and lined in 9th overall. Joonas Kolehmainen was 46 seconds off the lead in 8th place before the final stage. Some places he could win, some because that was his home road. Toni Kuhanen was not as brilliant as last time. 7th place did not satisfy him, and he had to watch out Kolehmainen as well. Matti Nikander set the fastest time on the 4th stage, but it didn't move him up from the 6th spot. He was 19 seconds behind the lead. Juha Salo lost some time as he hit some snowbanks, and he even had to overtake other competitors. After 5 stages, he was in 5th place, 15 seconds behind the leader. Tero Salminen picked up his speed, but it seemed that he couldn't break through into top 3. He was 10 seconds off the 3rd spot, and that seemed too much of a gap even to Salminen. Final stage would be an absolute thriller. Top 3 were divided only by 4 seconds. Jere Rekola set the fastest time on the 4th stage, and he was now on 3rd spot. Jaska Nuorala had dropped down to 2nd place. As mentioned, Timo Jaakonsaari led the field by 4.1 seconds as they headed to the last stage. But was it enough?
Tää sen nyt ratkaisee tää viimeinen pätkä sitten vissiin, että miten siellä. En tiedä miten noi tuolta tulee noi takaippaa, mutta muuten on kyllä tiukkaa.
Niin, Jaakonsaari johtaa 4 sekuntia teihin kakkosena. Se on Jere vaan muutaman kymmenyksen päässä, eli tarkkana saa olla.
Joo, näin. No ei mitään, koetaan mennä vielä täysiä tää viimeinen.
nyt on ihan umpituttu pätkä, että nythän tässä voi olla se kohtalon kirot käsissä tai sitten tulo hyvä aika niin sanotusti. Katsotaan nyt.
Tosiaan vitoselle pohjat, siihen jatkos kutosen pohjat, niin se olisi voitto pitkästä aikaa.
Joo, ei näitä voittoja mulla liikaa, että niitä
Ei oo vieläkään.
5 sijoja riittää aina kyllä.
oo vieläkään.
Kyllä niitä on.
Before we see how it all ended, let's take a look how juniors and seniors did this time. There were 44 competitors in a juniors race. Mika Rampanen tried to do a hat-trick in Karkkila. This time Jonne Luotonen and Ville Ylirönni tried to do their best to beat Rampanen. Also many expected that Jaakko Ollikkala and Kalle Liimatainen would be in the front. Mika Rampanen set the fastest time on the first stage. He dropped down the third before the service and he complained lack of grip in his rear tires. Jonne Luotonen was fastest on stages 2 and 3. That secured him the lead after 3 stages. Jaakko Ollikkala was 5th fastest with his BMW, only 18 seconds behind Luotonen. This time Kalle Liimatainen had a steady run with his starlet through the first stages. He lied second, 9 seconds behind the leader Luotonen. Jukka Heino was not as quick as normally. He had lost over 48 seconds. Always cheerful Ville Ylirönni had been 6th fastest. Time difference to leader was 21 seconds. Klaus Kostiainen was not as spectacular as before, and he was nearly a minute off the leader. Tuomo Virman, on the other hand, was in a good form. He lied in 7th place, 28 seconds behind the leader. Harri Mieskalainen gave his best with his BMW, 8th overall. Juha Salo showed some indications of his brilliance on the snow. Ford Escort was 4th overall. Harri Kallonen's Volvo was a lone soul in A-Juniors top 10 in 9th spot. Teemu Koivunen gave spectators something to cheer about with his BMW, 10th overall. After the service, Mika Rampanen tried everything to make up lost time. Unfortunately, he went off on the 5th stage and his race came to an end. Same was the case with Jukka Heino, as you can. Ville Ylirönni got his act together and by setting the fastest time on the 5th stage, he got into the lead. Unfortunately, drive shaft problems on the last stage dropped him down to 11th. Klaus Kostiainen had a steady run and he ended up in 10th place. Jarmo Westerinen had a poor start, but a fine sprint to the finish got him up to 9th place. Same was the run end. He was few seconds faster than Westerinen and got 8th place. Harri Mieskalainen had no troubles this time and his Beamer ended up in 7th place. Juha Salo had some minor problems and he dropped down to 6th place. Harri Kallonen managed to get from 10th place to 5th. Fine drive from a Volvo man. Let's see how Jaakko Ollikkala did on the last stage. Despite this little pirouette, Ollikkala got 1 place up and ended up 4th overall, only 19 seconds behind the leader. It was first success to Tuomo Virman in this year's series. He was a happy man in 3rd place. Jonne Luotonen suffered some time loss on the 5th stage. In the end, he was 2nd overall, just 9 seconds behind the leader. It was a race with no incidents for Kalle Liimatainen. Starlight flew 9 seconds faster than Luotonen and it secured the victory to Liimatainen. Favorite to win B Juniors race was Tero Kulmala, who had to retire last time in Jyväskylä. This time it was his home event and everyone wanted to beat Kulmala. Unfortunately, Kulmala's race came to an end after 2 stages. Jyri Rautavirta started the race by setting the fastest time with his Golf. After the first one, Golf just seemed to slip a lot and Rautavirta dropped down to 3rd place. Mika Lehtinen with his Seat did not find the rhythm and he had lost over 47 seconds when they came to the service park. Lasse Rajala was 5th fastest through the first stage. Unfortunately, his race came to an end on the second one after he rode his Escort. Lauri Peltonen was 8th fastest through the first stages with his Starlet, 1/10 behind Seat driver Lahtinen. Raini Hautakangas made a rookie mistake on the first stage. Then on he recorded 2 fastest time and went into the lead. Tommi Laaksonen was right on the limit with his BMW. He was 32 seconds behind the leader in 4th spot. Joni Söderström was 9th with his Escort, 48 seconds behind the leader. Christian Kiviniemi took the first stages carefully. Therefore, he was surprised with his 2nd place. You see opens like Mika Öhmans rarely. He had taken few risks and lied in 5th spot. Lauri Paananen was 10th overall with his Volvo. Time lost to the leader was already 50 seconds. Janne Korhonen was 2nd fastest of the Starlets. Gap to similar Starlet of leader Raine Hautakangas was already 41 seconds. After the service, B Juniors headed to Loppi. Mika Lahtinen and Joni Söderström dropped out of the top 10 and only 23 pairs brought their cars to the finish. Marko Malinen had expected a better result from this race. After the last stage, he had to settle for 10th place. Henrik Olsi jumped up into 9th place due to brilliant last stage. Lauri Peltonen finished 8th. Big gap to the leader did not please him. Christian Kiviniemi tried to push hard on the last 2 stages. Unfortunately, he got stuck in the snowbank and 7th was all he could do in the end. Mika Öhman's drive gave him the 6th place. Gap to the podium places was only 20 seconds. Lauri Paananen picked up driver after another and in the end Volvo driver clinched 5th place. Janne Korhonen did also well on the last stages. He was 4 seconds faster than Paananen in 5th place. Tommi Korhonen pushed as hard as he could, but 3rd place was all he could do this time. Stages after the service suited better Jyri Rautavirta's Golf and he set 2 fastest times. He got close to Hautakangas but had to settle for 2nd place. As mentioned, Hautakangas was in his own league with his Starlet. He managed to get an overall victory in his 2nd rally. What a fine drive. Juha Korhonen won previous 2 seniors race. This time Korhonen was not in Karkkila and it was someone else's time to step up. Kari Kytelä was this time the favorite. After 3 stages he had stepped up to 4th spot. Ilmo Lario was fastest on the 3rd stage and that lifted him up to 5th place overall. Jarmo Mustonen hit few snowbanks, but he had the speed and BMW driver held the 2nd spot. This time Hannu Kortesuo drove his Opel neatly and he was in the lead after 3 stages. Lasse Hirvijärvi started his race with the fastest time on the first stage. At the service, he was in 3rd spot, only 10 seconds behind the leader Kortesuo. The table was set for Kari Kytelä to take the win. Unfortunately, engine troubles dropped Kytelä from the lead and he had to settle for 5th place in the end. Markku Laakso had a brilliant run through the last stage and he got up to 4th place, only 9.5 seconds behind the leader. Raimo Oksanen was also in a good form on the last one. He was 4 tenths faster than Laakso and got himself 3rd overall. Lasse Hirvijärvi ended up in 2nd place with his BMW. Seniors winner was fastest 2 times on the last part of the rally. Christopher got up 9 places and he took the victory by 4 seconds margin. Now it's time for final stage action. Could Jaakonsaari hold on to his lead? Jaakonsaari knew the last stage as back of his pockets and everyone expected him to take the win. This way Jonas Kolehmainen managed to set the fastest time with his start. Markku Artjoki was impressive with his Opel on the last stage. Overall, he finished in 12th. Finally, former champion Petri Kumpulainen got to the finish. This time he was 11th overall. Sami Sandel was 10th fastest, but he had hoped for a better result. Jari Toivonen set the 3rd fastest time on the last stage. That lifted him up to 9th overall. Toni Kuhanen had to let one more pass him, and he ended up to 8th place. Joonas Kolehmainen's fastest time on the last one got him past Kuhanen to 7th place. Kolehmainen lost only 2 seconds to Matti Nikander, who ended up in 6th place with his Corona. Juha Salo and Timo Heinonen made an impressive visit to FK. They were the fastest started pair in 5th spot. Tero Salminen got few seconds under his belt on the last one, but that didn't lift him up any further. He lost 13.5 seconds to the leader and ended up in 4th spot. Timo Jaakonsaari did not do any mistakes on the last stage, and at the finish he really thought he had won. Unfortunately, both Rekola and Nuorala had done the stage even faster, and Jaakonsaari dropped down to 3rd place with a 7-second margin. This is how Jere Rekola did the last stage. Rekola managed to pass Jaakonsaari, and he got the 2nd place. It seems that Jaska Nuorala just can't be beaten this year. 2nd fastest time through the last one secured the victory once again to Nuorala and his Volvo. Nuorala didn't expect that he could win this rally, and he was very satisfied with his hat-trick. Car has proven to be very good, and others have to come up with some new ideas for the summer events. Both Rekola and Kuhanen promised to give Nuorala a fearsome run for the victory.
Toivottavasti joku muukin konsti löytyy.
No viritetään moottoria, lähdetään sinkkitiukalla uuteen kaupunkiin, Tuusniemeen ja Heinola ja katsotaan missä riittää.
Next time we see in May, when it's time for more action from FK. Hope to see you then. Bye.